Hello, welcome to another one of my videos about error coins, and this time we're looking at a bunch of 2010 £2 coins which have hub doubling evident on the obverse side. Sometimes this is called doubled dies, and on these ones, if you look down here, you can see that the lettering is kind of doubled up, and it's very particularly notable on the IRB initials on the portrait there. I'll splice in some close-ups, obviously, because it makes it a lot easier to see. But basically, all of these coins I've got here are 2010, and they show the same hub doubling. So all three of these coins would have been struck using the same obverse die, which had the same hub doubling on it. It's not something you see very often. 2010 was a particularly notorious year, and I suspect that the number of these out in circulation will correspond to the lifespan of the obverse die that was used to strike these, because dies don't last forever. They can be used for maybe striking up to 500,000 coins. And to understand how hub doubling works, you need to understand the striking process, because some people erroneously describe these as being double struck because you can see the lettering twice. But that's not the case, and to understand why, you need to sort of understand how coins are struck. So here's an example of a die. This die was used to strike tokens rather than coins, which is why it's in my possession. It's very unlikely that you'll be able to get hold of a die that's used to strike circulating coins, because you could of course just use it to make your own coins, couldn't you? So yeah, this is a die, and it will be used to strike blanks and then high pressure strike, and then that will impart this design onto the coin. But yeah, like I said, dies don't last forever, so if you're making tens or hundreds of millions of coins, you're going to need more than one of these. And it's costly to keep engraving each one individually. So what actually happens is someone makes something like this. This is obviously not the corresponding one, but notice that this is not actually a working die that you would strike a coin with, because you've got a positive image here. The lettering isn't back to front like it is on the actual die. So this is what's called a working hub. So you would make something like this out of super strong metal, and then rather than making lots of individual dies, what you'd do is you would take this and you would, with mega hydraulic power, press it into a working die, or well, a blank billet basically, and then that would cause the reverse impression to be pushed into it, and then you cut off the edge bits. You can then use it like a die, and then you can reuse this to then make several more of these. It's much quicker to do it that way than it is to make a die by like laser engraving each one, because that'll take a few hours per die, whereas with this approach you just need to push that in and then you're sorted. But if we take a look back at these coins again, you'll see that you got the doubled lettering here but not up here. So how can that be? Well, so this is a special type of hub doubling called pivoted hub doubling. So when the working hub is pushed into the block of metal, usually you'll get a perfect reverse impression in there. But if something goes wrong during the process and it slips or rotates slightly, you can get the doubling going on. So that's exactly what's happened here. And the reason it's called pivoted hub doubling is because rather than just being a simple rotation, it's actually rotated at a place where the center of rotation is up here somewhere. So that's why you have the doubled lettering around here, and then it sort of starts to disappear as you get around the coin, and then eventually up here there doesn't seem to be any trace of it. So what's happened is this one has been pushed into the other piece of metal to create a working die, and during that process it slipped slightly. So you've got one imprint like that and then one imprint like that. And if these were actually double struck instead, you would not expect the both parts of the lettering to stand out so proud. But yeah, so hopefully that explains how not just the dies are made, but how the hub doubling can manifest itself. Let's see if that goes back into focus. These are obviously things used for tokens rather than coins, but they're still interesting and useful pieces to have just to explain this sort of thing. Because a lot of people don't realise how dies are made. For commemorative coins nowadays, certainly dies are made by lasers and then polished by hand. But for circulating stuff, it's all done with this, a working hub, which is then used to make working dies. And then the working dies are the things that are actually used to strike the coins. And after 500,000 or so strikes, they break or wear out. And then you just make a new one using the working hub. So there you go. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope you found this video informative and interesting maybe. If you did, please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'd love to see what you thought about this in the comments section. Don't forget to check out my other videos, because there's lots of stuff about era coins there, if that sort of thing floats your boat. But yeah, bye for now.